a show like ours, like Mob City, tell. And
we're gonna juggle all these up, and you're gonna have to try and figure out which one was yours. By the way,
I like this one.
because these two.
yeah, Fuzzy Boom, that was good. That was like putting like a pink ribbon on your luggage when like it comes out of the thing. Yeah, right. Belt, you know. I mean, who isn't fascinated with the stories of bad guys? There's a lot more depth, and then the guys that fight and do battle with the bad guys. It's oldest trick in the books.
I mean, you're from Brazil, you see, right? Yeah. I mean, you look at America in the old days, maybe a little bit more than Brazil, a lot more than a lot of countries. We had people coming here from all over the world coming here back in the turn of the century, and especially like when you go to big cities, like I grew up near Detroit, and you see like the melting pot in Detroit, like in New York, Chicago, all these different ethnicities and these different religious groups coming together, finding the dream of America, and then at the same time saying, I gotta fight for my place in America. And then we resort to mobs. They resort to families getting together and saying, I'm gonna take you out if you come onto my street. There's kind of a romantic notion about that nowadays that can be identified with being American. That we all have to get along, and we still are trying to get along. I think that's part of it as well. Glorifying it in a way, but also saying, this actually really happened.
Can you guys talk to me a little bit about your characters and kind of what people can expect when they turn in to watch this episode?
Yeah, I play Bugsy Siegel, obviously a real character. He's sort of the head of the crime syndicate, I guess you'd say, in Los Angeles. Milo's character is a fictional character named Ned, who's a lawyer, but who kind of is playing both sides of the fence. And Robert's character is Sid Rothman, who
came into
yeah, I mean, we feel like on the show real friends, probably because not just the three of us, but all of us kind of like we clicked immediately, which doesn't always happen. I mean, we got really lucky.
Jeremy Luke, and Richard Brake, two other posse. Raising your hand, two other posse in the Crooks.
From Red Dot Diva blog from Singapore. Hi. You guys playing the bad guys in this series, so how do you channel your inner bad boy?
I'm always bad. Look at me. I just look like trouble.
You gotta look out for Milo.
I don't know. Well, my character is actually kind of correct. He's a guy who operates on both sides of the law. He is, of course, the attorney for the mob, but he's so intertwined in the underbelly of the mob and the inner workings of it that you wonder just how much of the dark side he's in, the shadow. So, for me, it was kind of playing real life. Sometimes you're the good guy, sometimes you're the bad guy. Sometimes you just need to get things done.
I've done so many romantic comedies that I couldn't wait to have an opportunity to beat the shit out of somebody on screen.
Oh man,
and it was so much fun. So it was very easy to tap into, my dark and more violent side. I think most actors love playing the bad guys. The bad guys are always much more fun. No real effort required.
I would add to that I learned years ago here in New York, Bill Esper was a great acting teacher. He always taught you to play the opposite. And especially I find playing bad guys, like bad guys don't think that they're bad guys. They think they're doing something really great. In this case, protecting family, protecting a best friend. And so that's how I go about it. I say, okay, what am I doing positive here? Not negative. And then usually that works out.
Anybody else?
I know the last few years you do a lot of movies. How has changed TV now that you are returning to TV?
For me, it was a script like Mob City. It was what Frank wrote. I coming off of Heroes, coming out of Gilmore and American Dreams and Bedford and all those things that kind of raised me. it's always about the material, you know. And in this, there was just I mean, I can't say it enough. It's just such a great script. I mean, it's funny because like I barely pop up in the first episode until kind of toward the very end, and it was very selective about who got the entire script and not. My character hadn't even shown, and I was like, I'm in, because it was you see it on the page, you know. And it's always about that for me. Is what's the character, who am I going to be working for and with, and what stories am I telling? So this was definitely something to step back into the TV arena with, because it truly was that special. Is that special?
Yes, for all three of you, the roles, how do you guys prepare from, like, do you guys have to look at your character and then study your character, or do you just, like, transition into the 1950s?
Yeah.
I think we all work in very similar ways and also very different ways. I learned a long time ago to start with a character on the inside and go out. No, they tried to teach me that, to start with the inside and go to the outside, but I still screw it up. I still get an idea in my head about something. Like with this, I heard a famous, iconic actor named Sterling Hayden, and I just kept hearing him in my head, and I stupidly went for Sterling Hayden's voice. Okay. This kind of thing. I had to go back and find organically what it was, who was this real guy. The trick I realized with especially the 40s is don't go for that. Yeah, I mean, man, yeah. It's just a cliche. You got to shoot yourself in the foot. He was very good at not. They're very good at not doing that. I had to like.
No, but see, it wasn't that we're not. I just can't. It's hard.
You can't act. No, you can't act the part. You have to be believable.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. I could screw up all the time. People think I'm not acting.
I want to ask Ed, why do you think the bad guys became so charismatic? Like Walter White, Breaking Bad?
I think what it is like, part of it I think is just quite honestly wish fulfillment. Everyone had, you guys are all in New York, somebody bumped into you on the sidewalk, a cab cut you off, a guy in a deli pissed you off. You want to go Walter White on them, or Bugsy Siegel. You want to take that fucker and bash his head through the window. I know you do. But you can't do that. So you put on Breaking Bad. And we get to live through those characters. I'm kidding around, but I think that's a big part of it. People have always, it's a little bit of wish fulfillment in that we would love, we wish that in those situations we could act the way the gangster does. The other thing is, they're fascinating characters. These two guys are fictional characters in this piece, but, Frank had a blast writing them. Bugsy, a real character who lived a crazy, wild life, and that makes for great drama. So, I think it's for all of those reasons. We'll go you and then
go deep and come.
Milo, since you're playing a modeler, and the first thing came out in the 1940s was Tom Hagen from Godfather.
Yeah.
But your character, based on the description, he's again on the gray. He's helping the detective team at the same time as the modeler. What kind of inspiration or influence did you look into?
For
How
me,
was it different from Tom Hagen?
I mean, look, Tom Hagen was a guy that sometimes, he was asked to step out of the room. I think a character like mine, like Ned Stacks, he's a guy who has the smarts to understand how to orchestrate something. So that was the way that I saw Ned Stacks, which is more of a Sidney Korshak. He's a guy who's so smart, so damn smart. He can see all the angles and all the players and everything going on, and know exactly how to maneuver and how to get, do what his boss is asking him to. So that was the approach for me. It was less a guy who was family. It was a guy who was actually groomed to be in this business because somebody saw him and saw how smart he was and said, "You're going to work for these guys," and he took it and embraced it, and they embraced him. You know, I mean, that was a big thing with our characters was, you know, my character was placed there, and this is my godfather, this is my guy in a way. So I'm there to serve whatever needs he has. So, it was coming from a very intellectual way, you know, smart way, being able to beat the game of chess. Yeah.
You guys have mentioned how just awesome the script is, and like for you, that's what really drew you in. So, are there any one-liners or character descriptions or scene descriptions that really resonated with you, or spoke to you, or that even sum up Mob City for you?
Man, I think they all kind of hit in the trailer.
There's a lot of them. You know, the beautiful thing about this show, one of the beautiful things is that TNT, wisely, I think, is going to air 2 episodes at a time for 3 weeks, right before Christmas. And it's one of those beautiful Christmas presents for everybody. And you just can't, you would spoil Christmas if you said what it was in that present, because it was glorious to act it, and now we see snippets of the product, and it's
I think you're
going to be a beautiful present. Yeah, we don't want to spoil
You're going to want to keep your ears open as much as your eyes are going to be glued to what you're seeing.
Talk.
Frank Darabont TV series. It's a little unnerving when you're reading the script, knowing that no character is safe. You know, you have a chance. And I mean, Bugsy's fate, I know, is not the best. But for the fictional characters, you know, it's kind of unnerving when you're reading the script, like it could be me. But you're part of something so great.
Did you feel that on Heroes ever? No, you were a superhero, so you.
Yeah, but they do shit like take my powers away. but I actually, it's funny. I'd heard stories way back to like Tom Fontana on Oz, where you know they're like, "Oh, I didn't die, but I get gang raped in the showers." It's amazing. And he got that on Chris Break. You know, I think with with Frank and the script, you know, we had such a short amount of time. 6 episodes and 2 months of actual production that I know I wasn't thinking about who's buying it, who's sticking around or anything. It was just like, hey, let me just enjoy the hell out of this, because when am I going to get an opportunity like this to be around great actors, amazing crews, and a boss that gives everything, really gave everything to the production, you know. I didn't think about whether I was living or dying or anything. I was just like, I'm just going to enjoy the hell out of it.
Nothing in this business lasts forever. No show lasts forever, and no character on the show lasts forever. When you're dealing with a genius, you just have to, like you say, you just have to step back and let him do that for you. It's not like I can go to Frank and say, "Can you please keep my character alive?" You just can't do that.
Okay, we have time for one last question.
Do you know if Frank, I know that he's not here, but do you know if he was influenced by any, like old mob genres? Because it reminded me a lot of like LA Confidential mixed in with like Sin City.
You know, if I may, she was just asking about like his influences. The John Bunham book. I know in conversations I've had with him, Frank said he was influenced by the John Bunham book. And old classic noir movies.
He wanted to make a noir movie with a character that has heart in a city that's going down.
The shitter. Yeah. So you guys didn't hear that. He wanted to make, what?
A noir film with a character that had heart in a city that was going downhill. Close.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you very much, guys.